Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing? I'm nervous. It's snowing again. I was born in December, so I love it. Let me just take a minute and look at y'all. Y'all look so good. Thank you for coming tonight. Last night, I had a story, and it's one that's known. And then Lauren did her story, and she did an update, and it really connected with me that I was disconnected with a story that I had planned to share. And the reason that is because the last 90-some days have been the hardest days that I have lived since I chose to become healthy and since I chose to learn to live a life with wellness and truth. So I'm going to share new pieces that touch me deeply, and I may cry, and I'm not a big crier because I get ear infections when I cry. When I'm laying down, at least, I do. But to start it off, I want to share with you, because at the end there's a little song that goes with this, that my beautiful mother, who was an orphan, sang years and years ago, because I'm years and years old. But when I was little, I would hear her sometimes singing this song, and it was Motherless Child. And I said, Mama, why do you keep singing that song about a mama-less child? And she simply said, because there's sometimes when moms aren't there, we have to learn to mother ourselves. And there are some times when we are trying to mother ourselves, we're not at home. And that stuck with me. And through my years of being her favorite child, of course, because I was the youngest, and she lived her life vicariously through me, I learned what she meant by those words, because she was an orphan. She lived in an orphanage until she was 18. But I'm going to tell you this, she was one hell of a mother. And she loved me unconditionally, which means she was very special. I also want to say thank you to Lauren and Katie, because y'all are special too, because there are some of us who just don't follow rules.
That's you.
And I apologize. Poor things. Yippee. So I retitled this speech called Hurdles. Hurdles to Brave. When I made the commitment to live a healthy life and follow my physician's directions regarding taking medication, my life began to really change, and I really did start healing. But I want you to hear what it felt and sounded like when I first started taking medicine, okay? So everybody, I just want you to just for a second, it's going to be longer in a second. Just try to be as quiet as you can. That's how it felt. And I thought that silence was going to last. I didn't realize that if I stood there long enough, the chatter would begin again and life would go on. So I couldn't understand why it was so important to take medicine, because I thought it was pretty darn boring. Well, I realized that it helped me not live a Swiss cheese style of life, meaning I would show up sometimes and then not show up, and commit and then not commit, and you never knew what you were going to get, so you just stopped depending on me. And it was important for me to allow you to think it was more of a character flaw than something was wrong with me, because at that time I didn't know that I had a mental illness. I thought I had a character flaw, and I thought, well, why are you having a hard time with it? I've got to live with it. How do you think I feel when I don't show up? However, taking medication allowed me to stabilize, to become consistent, to show up every single time. And people started depending on me, and my relationships started increasing in their value and in their content and they lasted. And I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about little children. You know, it's like, Mommy, where's Aunt Nona? We haven't seen her like for 3 weeks. I don't know. She might be in the Bahamas. No, I was in bed or somewhere else. But, you know, I just had to hide. So from 2002 to 2017, I came to terms with who I am. Because until then, I was a mosaic and a collage of who you thought I was. Because I didn't know how to be me. Because I didn't know what that meant. Because I didn't feel like I was. I just went through life doing the right thing based on what the right thing was told of me. By the grace of God, I was blessed with a lot of talents. And most of us who are bipolar or hypomanic or, have some anxiety or thrill seekers, all that, we are a little special sometimes. And I'm grateful for that because my music is what has sustained my life. Because people like to hear me sing. And I like to sing for people. But I realized I don't like it as a commodity. I like the experience of sharing. I was a big drinker, so that's how I came into the world of mental health through AA. And I lived my life from 1983 until 2002, then just insane. You stop drinking and you don't have a reason to be the way you are. You just are, and people look at you like, oh my God, where are your filters? Well, in 2002, after being diagnosed as hypomanic and ADHD with a tad bit of borderline personality in the mix, I thought, it might be okay to talk to a therapist. Maybe I might learn something about myself. Maybe I might learn how to do some things differently and not feel so worthless and think you didn't love me even though you told me 5,625 times that you did. And you know what? It began to work. And little by little, the holes in my life began to close, and I became more healthy, and people could actually depend on me. In 2006, I began a journey that put every aspect of my being to test, especially with my mental wellness and ability to handle grief, incredible pain, and multiple loss. January 23rd of 2006, my mother died. My partner of 17 years, her mother died April the 24th in 2006. My great niece, age 4 months, died October 2008. My partner's great niece died the same year. She was only 4 hours old. In 2010, my sister, I'm still pissed at God, died of a multi-giant glioblastoma. She lived 4 months after she fell leaving a ballet. Now, my sister was Aunt B from Opie. You know that show? She could make 24 hours 86. She loved everybody. She spoke to everybody, and like her husband would take her to the store for milk, and she'd be in the store for 2 hours, and she'd come out, and he's still sitting there. And he's like, Deanne, do you have the milk? Oh, I forgot it. I love my sister, and this world was a better world with her in it. However, God's much smarter than I am, in my belief, and I understand now why. Through all of this loss, though, I remained healthy. I kept my job, my relationships, and maintained all other relationships. I was in a ton of musicals, traveled a lot. Then in 2013, I was in a head-on collision. Now, I didn't get hurt, but my partner, who was in Richmond while I was in Waynesboro, hit herself with a hatch as she was pulling it down on her head and suffered a moderate TBI. I was like, trying to one-ups me. Because I didn't believe her. I was in a head-on collision. I mean, head-on collision. The only thing that hurt was my finger. 3 months later, though, I went to this little support group and cried like a baby because she truly changed. Before, it was like vanilla ice cream. After, it's been Baskin Robbins every day. I never know what flavor I'm coming home to or what I'm going to wake up to. We both live with physical and mental challenges and gifts. She was supposed to be here tonight, but she went to New Bern, North Carolina. Thank you, Florence. And helped with a shelter. And when she came home, she was sick. Black mold, and also from the trauma and the loss. A baby was bit on the head by a spider and they lost it. And it took a toll on her. She was there for 16 days. And from then to now, it's been an up and down. I had just gotten a brand new job. They promised me a lot of stuff and I believed them. It's not exactly what they promised. However, my healthy relationship with Melissa of 17 years, when I come home and I've been kind of not so happy about it, she's listened and she said, you know how to take care of yourself, you know what to do. And I did. And then it got bigger and bigger. My medication wasn't covered. I was like, what are you talking about? 15 years I've been taking the same medication. It's a generic. Well, it wasn't on our formulary. So for a week and a half, I went without medication, which meant for a week and a half, I went without sleeping. But you know what? That doesn't give me the excuse not to show up. I would drag my bottom out of my bed and go to work. And I made mistakes, but I was honest with my employer what was going on, which is the first time that's ever happened, because I would always lie and make up something because I didn't want to know there was something wrong with me. There was always something wrong with the system. And then the hardest thing has been we are in the process of trying to adopt our great niece. Those of us who live with mental illness, mental challenges, mental gifts, sometimes we can be very judgmental with other people. Our great niece's mom is an addict. And I was really angry because I wanted to save this child if I could. But because of the anger, they got mad and pulled her out of our life. And I realized I was judging her for not making the choice I wanted her to make. But she was making that choice out of an illness, not out of a place of wellness. And so I had to come to terms with my judgment of her behavior and realize I had to let it go. Well, through the job, there has been a hurdle for the last 45 days, every single day, to get to the place where I am today. There were days when I was going to be in the show, I wasn't going to be in the show. I was going to show up, I wasn't going to show up. I was crying going to work, crying coming home. And then Melissa and I sat down and she said, Nona, I think I was your conduit to This Is My Brave. It's just not my time. Because I knew nothing about this until we were driving. Every single time we came to DC, it rained hard. And we're driving up the first time. I was like, what are we going to? Why are we going? She goes, it's this thing called This Is My Brave. And I said, well, why don't you ask them if I can audition? Brave? Brave? Am I brave? I thought I was at the beginning. And then I realized how scared I was about being brave. Because telling you what I know, what I've known all my life about who I am, is easy. But sharing with you that I've been in pain and it's not been easy, and I'm still accountable and responsible for being well, is scary to me. Because I'm more concerned about what you might think of me than what is really true for me. And that part of my wellness is still learning how to grow up. So, getting here has been a challenge, and yet I am here. I know things are okay, and there's going to be another hurdle, and I am going to be the Olympic champion of This Is My Brave. I will tell you, I don't want a gold medal because I live a golden life. Because hurdles are not going to deter me. That is the definition of my brave. I'd like to just share a little quick song with you. The first verse is about depression. The second verse is about my hypomanic state, which is so eloquent at times, but I don't miss it. The third part is about just being stable and realizing life is okay. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long, long way from home. And sometimes I feel like a bird up in the sky. You know, sometimes I feel like a bird is flying higher and higher. Sometimes I feel like a bird up in the sky. And God just kissed me as he brushed by. And sometimes I feel like I'm almost home. Oh, sometimes I feel like I'm almost home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost home. I'm safe, happy, and loved. I'm never alone. You know I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm loved there, and I'm never alone.